Thanks. So, her main important thing was just relax into who you are at this moment. The moment we think that, I can be something else, I can be somebody else, I can be doing more, I can be doing less of this, I shouldn't be doing. So, uh, for me, the takeaway was in any situation, um, if the best what we can do is, if we are confronted, suppose, with somebody by somebody, and the best we can do is we are like master and say, oh, I forgive you. That's the best that any of us can. But at this moment, I'm not that, I'm not yet master, and I have the urge probably to fight with that guy. She said, what is the worst that you can do? Do a little bit better than what is the worst you can do. That's the first step. That is all. That is all. She said, just do better than your worst. And every time, keep calibrating it. And we will soon realize that, there is no, and then, of course, keeping on our kriyas and various other things. Slowly, all this will fall away. She said, if somebody asks me, will we be liberated in this lifetime? She said, so what if I'm not? I'm practicing, I'm doing what my master has taught me, I'm serving, and I'm doing everything. And even if I'm not liberated in this lifetime, it's okay. And she said, that relaxed me, that thought. So, very important takeaways when we say don't judge. First, don't judge yourself. This is a very important takeaway, at least it was for me. So, I thought I should share it with you because we were on that topic of judging, and that seemed to be the most important in that part of that this story. That seemed to be the most important lesson that Babaji and this line of gurus seem to be telling us. So, and then, continuing with that, Asha ji also had a similar message, and then, I thought I should share it with you. Now let us go and listen to this, the further the chapter, what we had, where we had left off.
Over a comparison of the Bible and the scriptures of Sanatan Dharma. Quoting the words of the blessed Lord Jesus, I showed that his teachings were in essence one with the revelations of the Vedas. To my relief, my book was finished in a short time.
Page number 3.
I realized that this speedy blessing was due to the grace of my Param Guru Maharaj. The chapters first appeared in the Sadhu Sambad journal. Later they were privately printed as a book by one of my Kitterpur disciples. The morning after I had concluded my literary efforts, Master continued, I went to the Rai Ghat here to bathe in the Ganges. The ghat was deserted. I stood still for a while, enjoying the sunny peace. After a dip in the sparkling waters, I started for home. The only sound in the distance was that of my Ganges-drenched cloth, swish-swashing with every step. As I passed beyond the sight of the large banyan tree near the river bank, a strong impulse urged me to look back. There, under the shade of the banyan, and surrounded by a few disciples, sat the great Babaji. "Greetings, Swamiji." The beautiful voice of the Master rang out to assure me I was not dreaming. "I see you have successfully completed your book. As I promised, I am here to thank you." With a fast-beating heart, I prostrated myself fully at his feet. "Param Guruji," I said imploringly, "will you and your chelas not honor my nearby home with your presence?" The Supreme Guru smilingly declined. "No, child," he said. "We are people who like the shelter of trees. This spot is quite comfortable. Please tarry a while, Master." I gazed entreatingly at him. "I shall be back at once with some special sweetmeats." When I returned in a few minutes with a dish of delicacies, lo, the lordly banyan no longer sheltered the celestial troop. I searched all around the ghat, but in my heart I knew the little band had already fled on etheric wings. I was deeply hurt. Even if we meet again, I would not care to talk to him, I assured myself. He was unkind to leave me so suddenly. This was a wrath of love, of course, and nothing more. A few months later I visited Lahiri Mahashai in Benares. As I entered his little parlour, my guru smiled in greeting. "Welcome, Yukteswar," he said. "Did you just meet Babaji at the threshold of my room?" "Why, no," I answered in surprise. "Come here." Lahiri Mahashai touched me gently on the forehead. At once I beheld near the door the form of Babaji, blooming like a perfect lotus. I remembered my old hurt and did not bow. Lahiri Mahashai looked at me in astonishment. The divine Guru gazed at me with fathomless eyes. "You are annoyed with me?" "Sir, why shouldn't I be?" I answered. "Out of thin air you came with your magic group, and into the thin air you vanished. I told you I would see you, but I did not say how long I would remain." Babaji laughed softly. "You were full of excitement. I assure you that I was fairly extinguished in the ether by the gust of your restlessness." I was instantly satisfied by this unflattering explanation. I knelt at his feet. The Supreme Guru patted me kindly on the shoulder. "Child, you must meditate more," he said. "Your gaze is not yet faultless. You could not see me hiding behind the sunlight." With these words and the voice of a celestial flute, Babaji disappeared into the hidden radiance. That was one of my last visits to Benares to see my Guru, Sri Yukteswar concluded. Even as Babaji had foretold at the Kumbh Mela, the householder incarnation of Lahiri Mahashai was drawing to a close. During the summer of 1895, his stalwart body developed a small boil on the back. He protested against lancing. He was working out in his own flesh the evil karma of some of his disciples. Finally, a few chelas became very insistent. The master replied cryptically, "The body has to find a cause to go. I will be agreeable to whatever you want to do." A short time later, the incomparable Guru gave up his body in Benares. No longer need I seek him out in his little parlour. I find every day of my life blessed by his omnipresent guidance. Years later, from the lips of Swami Keshavananda, an advanced disciple, I heard many wonderful details about the passing of Lahiri Mahashai. A few days before my Guru relinquished his body, Keshavananda told me, he materialized himself before me as I sat in my hermitage at Haridwar. "Come at once to Benares." With these words, Lahiri Mahashai vanished. I entrained immediately for Benares. At my Guru's home I found many disciples assembled. For hours that day the master expounded the Gita. Then he addressed us simply, "I am going home." Sobs of anguish broke out like an irresistible torrent. "Be comforted, I shall rise again." After this utterance, Lahiri Mahashai thrice turned his body around in a circle, faced the north in his lotus posture, and gloriously entered the final Mahasamadhi. Lahiri Mahashai's beautiful body, so dear to the devotees, was cremated with solemn householder rites at Manikarnika Ghat by the holy Ganges, Keshavananda continued. The following day at 10 o'clock in the morning, while I was still in Benares, my room was suffused with a great light. Lo! Before me stood the flesh and blood form of Lahiri Mahashai. It looked exactly like his old body, except that it appeared younger and more radiant. My divine Guru spoke to me. "Keshavananda," he said, "it is I. From the disintegrated atoms of my cremated body, I have resurrected a remodeled form. My householder work in the world is done, but I do not leave the earth entirely. Henceforth I shall spend some time with Babaji in the Himalayas and with Babaji in the cosmos. With a few words of blessing to me, the transcendent Master vanished. Wondrous inspiration filled my heart. I was uplifted in spirit, even as were the disciples of Christ and Kabir, when they had gazed on their living gurus after physical death. When I returned to my isolated Hardwar hermitage, Keshavananda went on, I carried with me the sacred ashes of my guru. I know he has escaped the spatio-temporal cage. The bird of omnipresence is freed. Yet it comforted my heart to enshrine his sacred remains. Another disciple who was blessed by the sight of his resurrected guru was the saintly Panchanan Bhattacharya, the founder of the Calcutta Arya Mission Institution. I visited Panchanan at his Calcutta home and listened with delight to the story of his many years with the Master. In conclusion, he told me of the most marvelous event in his life. Here in Calcutta, Panchanan said, at 10 o'clock of the morning which followed his cremation, Lahiri Mahashaya appeared before me in living glory. Swami Pranabananda, the saint with two bodies, also confided to me the details of his own supernal experience. A few days before Lahiri Mahashaya left his body, Pranabananda told me at the time he visited my Ranchi school, I received a letter from him requesting me to come at once to Benares. I was delayed, however, and could not leave immediately. As I was in the midst of my travel preparations, about 10 o'clock in the morning, I was suddenly overwhelmed with joy to see the shining figure of my Guru. Why hurry to Benares? Lahiri Mahashaya said, smiling. You shall find me there no longer. As the import of his words dawned on me, I sobbed broken-heartedly, believing that I was seeing him only in a vision. The Master approached me comfortingly. Here, touch my flesh, he said. I am living as always. Do not lament. Am I not with you forever? From the lips of these three great disciples, a story of wondrous truth has emerged. At the morning hour of 10, on the day after the body of Lahiri Mahashaya had been consigned to the flames, the resurrected Master, in a real but transfigured body, appeared before three disciples, each one in a different city. So, when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?
Chapter 37. I go to America. America. Surely these people are Americans. This was my first thought as a panoramic vision of Western faces passed before my inward view. Immersed in meditation, Chapter 41.
Sorry. Okay. What an amazing chapter. So here we were. We had finished last time where he had been told by Babaji, requested by Babaji to write a book where, to show that all teachings are same. The truth is one. All teachings are same. So, if Bible says the same thing and our scriptures, the Hindu scriptures also say the same thing. And he came back and he says that, I don't know where, I have never seen, I hope sometime we will be able to see where he says, I was able to compose a poem dedicated to the deathless Guru. I don't know if it is still available with any of his disciples. We haven't been able to see it. So here, and he says that I have never attempted Sanskrit, and but I was able to. Why? How? He is, again, he didn't say that, I managed to write in such a beautiful Sanskrit poetry. He says it's because of the blessings of Param Guru Maharaj. And this book also, as I said, that it is a very small thin book, and he's written it in Sanskrit, and this book is Holy Science, right? And he called it Kaivalya Darshana, and he's written in Sanskrit, and then he has interpreted it in English, and also given the biblical version. So for a long time, people, I thought that probably he's picked these Sanskrit verses from somewhere. Turns out he has written it himself. All that has come to him, and so he was able to finish it very fast. Then when that part where he is gone, we have seen the pictures of Rai Ghat, that banyan tree. I will send a picture, the recent one where Jyotish ji, Devi ji couldn't go. Jyotish ji and others had gone there and meditated under the tree. So there's, and he says, a strong impulse urged me to look back. I mean, he is just walking and suddenly something is, impelling him, and he looks back, and what does he see? He sees Babaji and his group of chelas sitting there very sweetly. Greetings, Swamiji. And he says, I see you have successfully completed your book. As I promised, I am here to thank you. Babaji has come to thank him. And this shows that he knew he has, Sri Yukteswar is now in his radar. All that he was doing, everything Babaji knew. And just when he had finished, he came. And for what? To thank him. Such a beautiful thought. And even Sri Yukteswar, I'm sure by this time, he would have been self-realized master. And but still, he had this fast beating heart. And just see the difference. And now we understand when he first met Babaji, why Babaji blocked him from, even though at that time also he saw that he looked very similar to Lahiri Mahashaya, younger version, yet he couldn't place him. Why? Because Babaji knew that the moment he knew that he was meeting Babaji, he would have been like this, fast beating heart, and oh my God, this is Babaji. And what needed to have been communicated to him, or that scene that we read about, wouldn't have happened. I mean, I don't know what we would have done. We would have probably fainted if we had seen the Babaji there, or any of this line of gurus. So he's like, he had a fast beating heart. He prostrated and he says, please don't go. I'm getting some, sondesh from my home. Don't go. And he's inviting them home. He said, no, we are, people of the people who like the shelter of trees. Such a beautiful thing. And this is the spot which is very comfortable. So he says, no, we will not come to your, okay, wait, I'll get some shandesh for you. Don't go. And he says, when I returned in a few minutes, with a dash of delicacies, oh lo, the lordly banyan no longer sheltered the celestial truth. I searched all around the guard, but in my heart, I knew the little band had already fled on etheric wings. So somewhere, even as he went to pick up the sweetmeats, somewhere he wasn't very sure they will stay back. There was always this doubt in his heart that they are not going to be there. And it kind of, this one main thing, doubt, the fear. Oh, what if they are not there? What if by the time I went back, they are not there? So there is this fear, there is this doubt, which Master always said, doubt is something that is not very helpful on a spiritual path. And fear especially. Why fear? When you have a guru, when we have a guru who's guiding this life. Why fear anything? But still, we all go through that. And so he was, I guess, expecting, and so it so happened that they were not there. And very sweetly said, I mean, when we think of Sri Yukteswar, when we look at his picture, he's a stern looking, the master called him Gyan Avatar. Yet he says, I was deeply hurt. Even if we meet again, I would not care to talk to him. Such a childlike, right? That is the beauty of the book also, Holy Science. When we read it, most of us don't understand it. At least we'll understand parts of it. Most of it is very, very difficult to understand, though it is just a very thin book. And Swamiji said that, you finish reading and, you would have, my goodness, so much of knowledge, so much of wisdom, and so much to remember, so much to understand. But in the end, the last page, Sri Yukteswar has written, I hope I have been able to make the reader understand that you can't keep even a single step forward on the path of a spiritual journey without the natural love of heart. Swamiji said, love, I mean, there was so much of information, so much of wisdom, so much of calculations now, yugas and 24,000 and all. Where did he mean there was nothing on love? And how is he saying that? I hope I have made you understand. He says, you go back and read. Every line talks about that. God's love, God, it is everything is about God, love. So that is the beauty of what Sri Yukteswar, though he's a Gyan avatar, but at the end of the day, the spiritual journey, spiritual path is all about that love versus, loving God versus rejecting God. And God is, as Master once asked Swamiji, that, in a very mundane way, he asked, what makes the earth go round the sun? And Swamiji said, well, he thought Master wants some astronomical lessons. So he says it was the centrifugal force that, keeps the earth from not in its path. And he says, what keeps it from, not, if that is pulling it apart, then what, why doesn't the earth fly away? He said, oh, then he's explained about centrifugal force and centripetal force and all. Master just smiled and let it go. Swamiji, months later, he suddenly realized that Master didn't want any astronomical lessons from him. He was giving him a lesson. So that God is always pulling us towards him with love, with his love, and we keep pulling away because we have all these other desires. That's a pull of Maya, right? So we keep rejecting that love and we are trying to pull away, but he's still keeping us, in that gravity. At some point, this child of mine will come back. So that is what this is all about. It's all about love. The spiritual journey is all about that. So here, in a very childlike way, he says, I'm not going to talk to him next time. I will not, Then he says, this was as a wrath of, because he was telling the story to Mukunda and others. He says, it was a wrath of love, of course, and nothing more. He was trying to explain himself. So when next time he meets Lahiri Mahashaya said, did you just meet Babaji at the threshold of my room? He says, why no? Then Lahiri Mahashaya touches him. He says, come here. And he touched me gently on the forehead. So this is also very important. The touch of Guru. Babaji is right there, but he couldn't see because Lahiri Mahashaya had not yet allowed him to see. If he could meet Babaji in Kumbh Mela, it was because Lahiri Mahashaya, because he had sent him there. That means he wanted him to meet Babaji. So the Guru's touch, the Guru's permission, the Guru's allowing us to have certain experiences is very important. This is a very important point for all of. If I am not, Swamiji said he never got visions. And he said that it was because Master said that there was some karmic thing from his past life, so he would never get visions. So and also, as master said, that we only get those experiences that we need to be on the spiritual path. So somebody else who is getting visions, and we will feel, oh my god, they are getting visions, they are far ahead. Again, this is judging, right? They are so ahead, I never get any visions, I don't see light, I don't hear the sound of om. That means I'm not doing anything right, probably I'm not meditating right, I'm not following what needs to be done, I'm not doing the techniques right. Or there, it is not that. As long as we are making our efforts, nothing is wasted, as Krishna said on the spiritual journey, as long as we are making the efforts. And master allows those things, those experiences that are needed. So if the person is getting vision, is probably he needs it, he has been much more of a doubter, and for him to have faith on this journey, he needed those experiences. He didn't, so we don't get it, so it's okay, right? So this is very important. So at this moment, Lahiri Mahasaya allowed him, he touched him on his forehead. At once he beheld near the door the form of Babaji. He says, I remembered my old hurt and did not bow. The divine guru was just amused. He gazed, he said, you are annoyed with me. That is the beauty, right? Master said that God doesn't mind our, mistakes, our faults. He said what he minds is our indifference. All he, because what does he want? What does God want? He has everything. He has created this. I mean, if we go and offer money in the temple, I mean, he is that money. He is everything, right? The sweets, he is in that. What does he want? What does he does not have is our love. So the here, as Sri Yukteswar is saying, he is like, a child having this conversation with his father. Very angry, I'm very annoyed. You didn't wait for me. There was so much of love in that annoyance. Babaji didn't mind it. He said, you are annoyed with me. He says, sir, why shouldn't I be? Out of the thin air you came in and you just vanished. And he's having fun, no? He says, I told you I will see you. I didn't say how long I'll remain. And then a very important point. This was the most important point for us. He said, you were full of excitement. I assure you that I was fairly extinguished in the ether by the gust of your restlessness. Babaji might be right here, sitting with each one of us. We can't see because our minds are completely restless, right? Then he goes on to say, child, you must meditate more. To Sri Yukteswar, if he needs to meditate more, oh my God, what do we have to do? Says, your gaze is not yet faultless. You could not see me hiding behind the sunlight. So every time we step into the sunlight, know that Babaji is there, hiding. Till we come to that state where the mind is not restless and we are able to see him. He is there. How do we come to that state where the mind is not restless? Meditation. Practicing meditation, practicing Kriya as told by our Guru, the way our Guru has taught. Because at the end of the day, everything is about attunement to the Guru. Like Sri Yukteswar was able to see Babaji because his Guru allowed him to. He was so in tune, he was so, doing what his Guru had told him to, that the Guru allowed him. So this is a very important point. We do all that our Guru has told. That's what Dhyanaji would always say. People would say, I do exercises, I saw this on YouTube. It is just like energization exercises. Or, I do this technique. It is just like Angso technique. Dhyanaji would say that, what is the point of doing something that is just like energization or just like Hongso or just like what the Kriya that Master gave? Your Guru has given you something. You just do that. Don't do something that is just like. It is all about attunement. So why rather doing energization, do energization exercises rather than doing something that is just like energization. So these are the things that are very important things that we all need to remember. Attunement to the Guru, everything else follows with that. He allows us the experiences, he allows us the visions, he allows us to progress the way he knows, this particular soul needs. So very important. And meditation, this whole path that we are on, the meditation is a very important aspect of it. So to be that is why he master always said, calmly active and actively calm. This path of Kriya Yoga is not just, at the moment I sit and meditate, that's it. Then I get up and, I continue being restless. So we have to bring the meditation, we have to bring the mind to a state where we can be very, calm, and then take that into every aspect of our life. So we have to be active. It's this path in this ascending Dwapar Yoga, this what Lahiri Mahasaya brought down from Babaji was a life of a householder. And this path is about, people who have to live in this, not go off to Himalayas, but live in this world, and yet, find, become inner renunciates and find God. And for that, very important that, the activities also that we go do is not a restless activity. It's calmly active, actively calm, as Master said. So there is this also funny anecdote about Master. He was getting late for a talk, so he started running. So one of his disciples said, "Oh, don't run, Master. Be calm." So Master said that when you're getting late, you can run calmly, but not running when you're getting late is, stupidity. So you can run, but again, still be very calm. It's all about being centered in yourself. Despite you, doing activities, you still be very centered. Do everything from that center. That is most important. So this is again a very important point that we all need to take, is that, calming the restless mind is very important if, we want to get the guidance of the Guru, to intuitively, receive the guidance on anything that we need. They are always helping, they are always around us. As Master said, if you think me near, I am near. Babaji said that whenever somebody thinks of, so Lahiri Mahasaya said that Babaji had promised that whenever anybody thinks of me with reverence, there will be an immediate spiritual blessing that flows. Again, the blessing is flowing. Master is near. Are we able to perceive their presence? That can happen only if mind is not restless. And so it is important to practice. Keep practicing. We will fall again, keep picking up and keep practicing till it becomes, we are always in that state where we don't have to practice meditation. We are always in a state of meditation. That is what these self-realized masters are. Okay, so here, he's saying that, so he said, child, you must meditate more, and your gaze is not yet faultless. You could not see me behind this sunlight. And then he talks about how Lahiri Mahasaya is ready to exit this planet from his physical body. And he's saying that he had this small boil on the back. Now, boil never killed anyone, right? But again, as he said, the body has to find a cause to go, just generally some cause to go. And he's saying that he was working out in his own flesh the evil karma of some of his disciples. And this is what most all the self-realized masters do. Master himself did. Paramahansa Yogananda, towards the end, he was, he couldn't even walk. He had to be carried down from his room. And so they take on, because, the close disciples, so we all have come with various karmas, but then those who are very much on the path and very serious to, sincere in their efforts, the gurus take on their karma so that they can progress faster. So let us be counted in one of in those set of disciples, because the more we have are making our sincere efforts, we are in direct radar of our guru, that and then they will help us whatever is needed. They will help us with that. Sri Yukteswar, in one of the chapters behind, where they had gone to Kashmir and master came back because he had to go back to his college, and he received a telegram from Sri Yukteswar saying that probably I'll leave my body. At that time, master said that he was working out the karmas of his other disciple, Jesus Christ. He says, they say that he went on the he allowed the crucifixion to happen for his disciples, and actually only after he left the body is when his teachings, the disciples went out and spread the teachings of Jesus. So here we are. A short time later, he says, the incomparable Guru gave up his body in Banaras. No longer need I seek him out in his little parlor. Swamiji always used to say that you guys are lucky. He used to tell the other day, Asha Naya Swami was also talking about this, that she said that he said, you guys are lucky that you didn't have to live with Master, because on one end we know that he is cosmic consciousness himself. He's a self-realized master. He's divine. On another end, you see that physical body in front of you, and here he is breathing, he's talking like us, he's eating his food like us. So it's very confusing. And once it so happened also, Swamiji, master is talking to some other people, and Swamiji is looking at him and he says, he's not here. He's a divine, he's a divinity himself, he's infinite, he's a consciousness, he is not here. And master, as he had told, that I know every thought that each one of you thinks. Master came up to him, picked up an apple and gave it to him and looked in his eyes, and he said, I'm very much here. So that's what, it's very confusing, when they are in body. Even Asha Naya Swami, the other day, she was saying that, even with Swamiji, she always used to feel wherever. I mean, she was in Palo Alto, Swamiji was traveling all over the place. So for her, Swamiji was in that, he had a particular, this geographical pole. Okay, he is in Assisi, he is in India. So there is a geographical pole for her where Swamiji was concerned. And then when he left the body, she said, it became easy for me to relate, because there is no now, particular place, the body, this is all it is occupying. He's now part of, the entire thing. And same thing, master also, Swamiji said that, it became easier once he left his body. And this is what he's saying, Sri Yukteswar, when Lahiri Mahasaya left the body, no longer need I seek him out in his little parlor. He is merged back into the infinity. And it's much more easier because he's all around. He's all over. Even when he was in body, he was everywhere. He could just materialize wherever he was. But still, it is easier to relate to him in that level. And here again, when, he's saying, Lahiri Mahasaya called when he was about to leave the body. Now we have to, you see where Master Paramahamsa Yogananda, he has come to India in 1935, and he went meeting all these people. Why? Because Lahiri Mahasaya had predicted that 50 years down the line, somebody will write about me, and then, the interest about Kriya Yoga and all will become this thing, it will spread in the Western land. So as part of that project only, he was meeting everyone, right? So he meets Swami Keshavananda, who says that, Lahiri Mahasaya called him. And we see that when he went there, at my guru's house, I found many disciples assembled. Means he must have called a lot of them. All his, sincere disciples, very close to, who were, very, he was working with them. He had called them all over. And how, he was not sending telegrams. He said, he materialized himself before me as I sat in my hermitage. And so everybody, he just went and said, come over to Banaras. And they were all there. And how did he leave the body? For hours that day, the master expounded the Gita. Then he addressed us simply, I'm going home. He expounded the Gita. He was giving them all the wisdom, his presence. The last time they are going to see him physically in that body. And he left them on a high. I mean, he was explaining the Gita, kept them in an uplifted consciousness, and then said, I'm going home. Yet everybody started crying. He said, be comforted, I shall rise again. He said, I'll resurrect again. And he said that he's not going away. He will be on the earth with Babaji. Oh, what are the light? Hello, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Yes, we can hear you.
I see you now.
Yeah, my light went.
You're audible.
Okay. Okay, let me just continue talking then. So here he says that, I shall spend some time with Babaji. Okay, I'm back. I shall spend
Yes.
with Babaji in the Himalayas and with Babaji in the cosmos. Interesting, no? So Babaji is, we have Mataji that they limited him to this planet. At the same time, he's not just limited to this planet. He is in the cosmos. And Lahiri Mahasaya said, he's also become Chiranjeevi, kind of, though he had left the body, oh God, though he had left the body, but he says that I will be, he's become part of the band of Babaji in the Himalayas, all the disciples. He's part of that. And here again, very interesting that, normally in India, the Hindu, the saints, the self-realized masters, they are not cremated. They are buried. Yet Lahiri Mahasaya was very clear when he received his Kriya, and he wanted to stay back at that time in the Himalayas. Oh God, the light is going and coming. He wanted to stay back in Himalayas. At that time, Babaji said, no, right now you will not stay. Your job is to, that is the dispensation for him. The divine dispensation was that you go back and live the life of a householder. That was his instruction from Babaji. And till the end, that Lahiri Mahasaya ensured he did just that. He was living the life of a householder despite, the kind of progress he was making, and he became self-realized. He was a self-avatar. Yet he continued living what his guru had told him. This lifetime, this body, he had to live that of a householder, and he continued doing that. And in that, only because of that, he was cremated, as says, with solemn householder rights. Everything he wanted just the way it should be for a householder. And when he meets Keshavananda, he resurrected himself and met him. God, there's a torch. He met him. He says, I have resurrected a remodeled form. My householder work in the world is done. That is what, in this body, my guru told me to continue being a householder. That was my work. And right now, when I left this body, that work is over. And I have now this, I need not do it anymore. Then so I left the body. And at the same time, 10 o'clock, he met, Panchanan Bhattacharya. Then he also met the Pranabananda, the saint with two bodies. So exact same time. Now, why did he do this? He was trying to show that, I have so much power. I have resurrected. No, these stories are there to tell us not only who he was, the avatar that he was, but also the potential of who we all are. We are not just this little bodies which has all the diseases that will come, the old age will come and then die and then just go off, that's it. Each one, I mean, all this is Maya. And the body was cremated, yet he says, I have resurrected a remodeled form using the disintegrated atoms of my cremated body. That is the power that each one of us has. That, I mean, nothing is beyond uh, an avatar's this thing. So he came back to show us that don't be too attached to this world of experiences that you're going through. Oh my God, this is happening to me. Oh, why that karma has hit me. I am having this problem. I'm having that problem. I'm having family problem. I'm having financial troubles. This is nothing. I mean, as Master said, it's all a dream of God. He is dreaming each souls, and dream of a dream. We are living a life of dream till we get awakened in God, and we will say, oh, none of that was real actually. Swamiji, in Essence of the Bhagavad Gita, he says that at the end of the day, when the saint becomes self-realized, he says, none of them said, oh, what a scam it was. All the troubles that they went through, he said, each one of it was well worth it. So, Master said that all of us, God created us for education and entertainment, yet how few are entertained. And hilariously, Asha Nayaswamy, the class that she had come here, she said, yes, it's a fact that very few are entertained, but at least let us get educated. So what is he trying? Every experience that we go through, good or bad, what is this experience? What is this, what is the lesson in it? What I need to know? Most of the time we don't understand why we are going through a certain thing. So, it's good to ask your guru to guide us. What was it? Why am I going through? What is the lesson in this? And till we learn that lesson, it will keep coming and hitting us. So that is why, the spiritual journey it's like a spiral. You keep coming back to the same point till we have learned the lesson. You will keep it. Sometimes, certain things, situations seem to be coming back again. I went through again. I'm coming back to the same thing, coming back to me. Why is it happening? It's because we haven't learned the lesson. So it will keep coming back. That karma will keep coming back till we learn the lesson. And once we are learned, it's gone. Then, we move on to learn other lessons. And if we want to keep going round and round, it can take ages, millions, as Master said, millions of years. Kriya Yoga is the shortest route to God. Attunement to Guru, Kriya Yoga, devotion to God. These are the, this, as he said, it's a airplane route to God. So here we are. Yeah, the part where we talks about, I was uplifted with a few words of blessing to me. The Transcendental Master vanished, the page number 332. He says, wondrous inspiration filled my heart. I was uplifted in spirit, even as were the disciples of Christ and Kabir. As a footnote, there is a story of how Kabir left his body. So when he had both Muslim and Hindu devotees with him. So when he left his body, they both started fighting. The Muslims said, we need to bury his body. And the Hindus said, no, he has to be cremated. So he says, Kabir had left his body. He had died. He came back and he says, the Muslims, you take half of my body and you bury it, and you guys take and cremate it. And he again went back into, the death state. And when they opened the coffin, they saw just few jasmine flowers. And it's written here, Master has written, when the disciples opened the coffin, which had contained the body, nothing was found but a dazzling array of gold-colored champak flowers. Champak. Half of these were obediently buried by the Muslims, who revere his shrine to this day, and the rest of the half was, burned. So these masters are showing us that, don't get attached to this little body. So it's very important that, we practice non-attachment. Every night, as Master said, that before you go off to sleep, just go through the day's events. I did this, I did that. So this person said this, all the events that went, so good or bad. Then offer it all back to God. Morning, as you get up and say, you have given me this day, God, what do you want me to do? What experiences do I, and what lessons do I need to go through? As you live through, some mistakes we would have done, but don't say, oh, I did this. Oh my God, he said that to me. Just offer it back. And, every night is like a death, and every morning is like a birth again. And that is how we should live. Just let go, give it all back. I live to the best of my ability. I'm giving this day back to you, God. And then, Swamiji said, have burn a mental bonfire, this bonfire of love, God's love. Offer everything in it, all your attachments, put it in that, and then sleep like a free man. And then next day, you have another opportunity. So it's like, on a macro level, there's, lifetime after lifetime, we die, is like the night that we sleep. And then, we take another body, and we live another lifetime. So we can live every moment. Master said every breath can be a death, and every breath that we take can be a new birth. So the whole point is to live in that eternal now. This moment, we have the power to change. So the more we live moment by moment, rather than most of the time we are living either in the past or in the future, or daydreaming, if only this was. So very important that each one of us lives in the moment to moment. This is very important. Practicing non-attachment, everything. Who knows? I mean, we go to any like there's this nadi that we had spoken about, Swamiji had also gone to, and I had also visited that same thing. They will talk about, that lifetime you had done this, so you are going through this problem. And when we are listening about that, it's like a story, right? Oh, some life, I have lived that, but do I have any attachment to that? Or, I might have this person as my husband, or that person as my child. It's like listening to a story. It doesn't matter anymore. This lifetime will doesn't matter anymore. So and right now everything seems so important. Oh my God, this person is so important. Oh my God, that person said so. Nothing matters at some point. So it's very important that we practice this non-attachment. As Master said that, every night, every day when you take a shower, when you are putting the soap on your body, say it, one day this will also become dust. The more we practice that, it will be much more easier to tune into what the divine wants. Because right now our mind is restless because we are so, caught up with what is happening to me, what is being told to me, why this is happening. The more we relax into the moment, it will be easy to tune into God and gurus. So here he's saying the last part, the master approached me comfortingly. Again, when Pranabananda said, he says, here, touch my flesh, I am living as always. Do not lament, am I not with you forever? What a promise from the Guru. Am I not with you forever? Each master is saying, our Paramahansa Yogananda said, whoever thinks of me near, I am near. Lahiri Masha is saying, am I not with you forever? They are here forever with us. We need to tune into them. We need to let go of what seems to be reality, but is actually a dream, and tune into what is real. And that's where he says, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? These self-realized masters are the victors, right? They have gone beyond that. Death cannot take them away. If now they want, they can just materialize their body and be here right now. So that is the power of this spiritual path. And that is our goal. Even now, though now, right now, we are where we are, so be it. We will be liberated. But the whole point is directionally, we are working towards that. So with that, I think the time is also done. Okay, one last thing where he says, I am living as always, do not lament. Am I not with you forever? So there is this sweet story of Paramahansa Yogananda when he left the body. We all know that for 21 days the body was kept, right? Because they were expecting some devotees who wanted to be there during this thing. So the body was kept. And at the end of this book, we will see that there was this letter from, because later on they said, okay, they are not coming. So let us listen. 21 days, they have this, the person who was taking care of it wrote a letter, this government guy, saying that not a single part was disintegrating. There was no sting. It was as fresh as ever. I mean, we know that, there's a dead body. Next day, it starts stinking. 21 days, nothing happened. And later on, when he was his body was put in, the nuns were all feeling so bad, and they said, okay, let us go there and pray there. And one nun, she was standing a bit apart from others, and suddenly she saw Paramahansa Yogananda standing next to her, and he said, I'm not in there. Where his body was there in the place where it was buried, he says, I'm not in there. And she said that moment, she went and told, I saw, and after that, they all felt good. Yeah, he's right here with us. And that is what Lahiri Mahasaya is also telling, that they are right here. They are now part of the infinite consciousness, much more approachable, much more, we are able to tune into them. So with that, anybody else has anything to add, or we can end the session? So, ठीक है? Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Joy to you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.